We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Plotaholics. I'm Shane Wilson.
And I'm Bryan Tan.
That's right. Yeah, this is the Plotaholics Live. You're right. I wait every week on the edge of my seat to see if Bryan will, in fact, make it here.
Yeah.
And so far,
I always do.
So far, he has every time, but it seems to get a little tighter every week.
Yeah, I feel really bad. I was on the way home, and then we realized we hadn't pulled anything out for dinner, and it's like, we gotta eat.
Yeah, I understand, man. No worries.
Next week, I will be here. I will be ready 15 minutes before go time.
Oh, big words.
Those are some
big promises.
That's a lot to. Well, this coming week, Shane, we got a lot going on. We're getting ready to go to the weekly format of the Plotaholics podcast.
That's right. We are getting ready to go to the weekly format. That's a big switch.
That is a big switch. So it's like, you know what? I got to be ready to go, man.
That's right.
This is the last week of slacking.
Yeah, this we kick that off. That on Monday you'll get your first of the weekly podcast episodes. We are going to surprise you with what that episode is.
We're not telling you. You're not going to know until it goes live.
That's right. But after that, remember that it's going to be Will Smith Timber.
Oh, yes. Yes, because you know what? Sometimes, Shane, fall is just summer too. Summer extended.
Well, where I live, that is for sure true.
Yeah. And since Will Smith is summertime, summertime, then Will Smith is going to be Smith-Timber. Smith-Timber. And it's going to be awesome.
Smith-Tober is not a thing. Smith-Vember is not a thing. But it is good to know that you can put the word Smith in front of almost any month and make it a new thing. So
Smithuary, Smay,
yeah. Man, you know
Smoon.
What? I don't want to like dilly-dally here. I don't want to bury the lead too much because
absolutely not, because I am pissed at this. I am angry. I'm raging.
Yeah, Bryan is raging on this news this afternoon that
and this broke an hour ago
and Disney have broken up over Spider-Man. Sony and Disney unable to reach a new deal that keeps Spider-Man in the MCU. Bryan, your thoughts?
It's bullshit. This is just another case of these corporate morons who don't know shit about shit, and the only people that get effed over are the fans. We are the ones that are getting screwed over. So you know what? Sony, right here.
I
double up. Double up. That's how I feel.
I don't know if so Deadline reported this initially just probably an hour and a half, 2 hours before we came on. And that article detailed kind of the finer points of the original Sony Disney deal and then what Disney wanted in the new deal. Because ultimately, Spider-Man does belong to Sony because Marvel Studios was an idiot 20 years ago.
Yep.
And
sold off the rights.
Right. And so Sony, you're really playing in Sony's sandbox with this thing.
Pretty much, yeah. They hold the cards.
Yeah.
And Marvel, I guess Marvel feeling that because they had Disney behind them, or Disney said because Disney feels like they've got all the clout. Yeah. We want instead, because the original deal was, for those that don't know, is that Marvel would co-finance, but then they would only get 5%.
Yeah.
While Sony got the rest.
Yeah. Marvel was also reaping all of the merchandising money.
So Marvel got all the merchandising money. That includes toys, share of the Funkos, everything. Sony got 95% of everything else. So I mean, it's big money, but
yeah. So according to Deadline,
we want 50-50. Yeah.
Yeah. According to Deadline, Disney now wants Sony and Marvel Studios to split the cost of financing the films and to get 50-50 of the box office.
So they want to split everything right down the
middle, and Sony is a no-go for that. Sony, by the way, in the middle of developing their own, what I guess would be called Spider-Verse, because they've already got Venom. They have several other Spider-Man films in production.
They've essentially got the entire Spider-Man catalog.
Yeah. So what's happened is it feels like Sony played Disney a little bit, because they gave Spider-Man to Disney long enough for Disney to establish a foundation and to establish a groundwork that would work.
And get the perfect Spider-Man.
Get a good director, build the world, and create the template for the films.
And then insert him into their MCU. And then someone's like, yoink, nope.
Yeah. Now, Screen Rant reports just 45 minutes ago that the deal isn't dead, that it could come back.
Because Sony wants to keep it the way it was. They don't want to change anything.
Yeah, but according to Screen Rant, who reached out to Sony for comment, they're saying now that the biggest sticking point was a producer credit.
Okay, a producer credit.
Yeah, which is strange because I don't know who wants a producer credit on what. This from Screen Rant, quoting Variety. Variety reports one of their sources said a deal can still be made between Sony and Disney Marvel Studios. When Sony was reached for comment, a representative said the dispute between studios is over a producer credit and negotiations are still ongoing.
So I think what it sounds like it could be is that someone at Sony wants to share the power with Feige.
Right. That same article also points out that Feige has been a consulting producer on Marvel properties that are done by Sony. So that would be Into the Spider-Verse, that would be Venom, but he's uncredited in those things.
So maybe he wants to be credited, and Sony's like, no, because this is ours.
Yeah. Anita in the House.
Anita! Agree. Yeah.
And I think it probably ends up working out. I can't imagine. The original the original news that we heard was Sony had given Spider-Man to Disney for 5 appearances in films, and those 5 were up after Far From Home. Mm-hmm. Then we heard that if Far From Home made $1 billion at the global box office, then they could keep him. But now they're renegotiating, and so that's sort of where we are.
Yeah, and the thing is that to kill this deal was not advantageous for either side.
Yeah, but who do you think leaked this? Because if these negotiations are ongoing, one of these two camps leaked it in order to try to get power.
It's possible, or it could even just be that some guy knows someone, and they said, "Oh, well, negotiations aren't going too well." Yeah. They're like, "Oh my God." You know what I mean? Because we live in a digital age now where news breaks immediately. There were times, 20 years ago before it became this major thing, news sources had to get sites. They had to get citations. They talked to people and everything before news really broke.
Absolutely. To me, this reeks of a power move from Disney because it makes Sony look bad. Because, look, like we just made so much money for you. We made the 2 most successful Spider-Man films ever. And now you want to take them back. It feels like a power move to me.
Well, and at that point, what's funny is that Disney does hold they hold the PR cards.
Yeah.
Number 1. Number 2, they hold the fanboy cards as well, because Sony has proven over the last 20 years that without Marvel, with the exception of the second Spider-Man movie, the first 2 Spider-Man movies in the Raimi-verse, they can't do a good Spider-Man movie because Amazing Spider-Man wasn't terrible, but it's nowhere near on par with the Raimi Spider-Man or the MCU Spider-Man at all.
I'm not mad at Joe's compromise either.
I'm really not either, because honestly, Spider-Man is so ingrained now in the MCU that you're going to have to do a lot of BS to not have a Spider-Man.
I think he's going to be there before it's all said and done. It's advantageous that this all happens at the start of Phase 4, which is going to see a slowing down of Marvel already.
Yeah. So
we just got a Spider-Man movie, so we're not due for another one for several years, and we don't have a team-up film due for several years. So we're gonna
plenty of time to fix this.
Yeah, and I think it probably will. I wonder if Sony doesn't want him back to put him in Venom 2 and then give him back to Disney.
That could be it. You know what? The thing is, though, too, this could also be a way. They could even come up with a way to make it work where Sony's Spider-Man universe sort of comes into the MCU as well. They could probably come up with some negotiations to make that happen as well.
It feels like this particular, because Sony started their Spider-Verse,
right?
And now we have this other thing going on with the MCU. It feels like the negotiations this time were bound to be more complicated.
Right. And this is, and like, now that I really take time to think about it and not get the knee-jerk fanboy reaction that I had, because at first, guys, I was like, F Feige, how could he do this? And it's like, oh. And Shane's like, no, it wasn't Feige. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. I mean, honestly, this is the perfect time to negotiate this. And there's plenty of time for this deal to fall through and come back, come back. Because how long did it take for the Disney Fox deal to go through?
Right.
That took a couple of years.
How long did it take to get Antonio Brown to show up to training camp?
Oh, Jesus. Don't even get me started on that clown. Did you hear that? Now, and the funny thing is, we are the plotaholics, so we do movies. But just to do a quick sports thing right now.
You know what? I want to say,
Pittsburgh are laughing.
Look,
we are laughing.
I want to say this about sports.
Okay.
If you think that there aren't narratives being spun in sports, then you're not paying attention to sports.
Absolutely.
Like, what happens on the field is almost the least important part of it.
It's like professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Professional sports.
All these people are characters, and the stories are being told. Anyway, yeah, right.
And it's really true. It's absolutely true.
One of my favorite series of articles is this article is a series on the AV Club that views football as entertainment as opposed to sports, and so it spends a lot of time looking at graphics packages and font choice, and like, it's awesome, but also hilarious.
I'll have to check that out.
I need to dig it up. It's, they only do it during the season, but it's called Block and Tackle is the series on the AV Club. Yeah, it's very good.
Do you ever watch the Reading Lips videos from the NFL seasons?
Yeah.
Those are so hilarious.
Those are excellent. Yeah. So
I'm not gonna go to lunch today.
Right. So yeah, I think like how quickly we like get distracted from the earth-shattering news of the day, right?
That is some major news. But honestly, like I said, there's so much money to be made with the character of Spider-Man, especially there's no way this deal is gonna just die, because Sony wants to make their money.
Yeah, but Sony also had a good year with this property, with Into the Spider-Verse and with the PS4 game.
Right, but the problem is that once again, Spider-Man was essentially dead until he came into the MCU. Sony has already proven they don't know what to do with Spider-Man
in a live-action film.
In a live-action capacity. So I seriously think, and plus there's too much money to be made for Sony keeping Spider-Man in the MCU. So, and you're absolutely right, with the time that it's going to be before we even see him on screen again, plenty of time for this to get fixed. So,
yeah, the other thing is this. If you go 50-50, $500 million is still $500 million. That's still a shit ton of money.
That's a lot of money. Oh my god!
Like, both of those studios, if they split the cost of making that movie down the middle, and then they both made $500 million, they're still going to recoup their costs
easily. Yeah, because you figure a lot of these movies take like what? I'm gonna spitball this here. I'm not gonna look it up, but maybe $100 million to make. That includes special effects, filming on location, and then so we'll say like $100 to $125 million.
So Spider-Man: Far From Home, the reported budget is $160 million, but still,
and that's not even counting marketing. So add another $40 million to marketing, and you've got $200 million.
Yeah,
it took to make that movie. You split that in half. Each studio is only spending $100 million.
Right
now, $500 million, $500 million. So you've made it 4 times over. So what's the big deal? They're going to come up with something. They're going to come up with something.
Yeah, this thing is not going to die like this. I can't imagine that it will. And, if we needed, it was almost like the universe giveth and the universe taketh away, because as soon as Spider-Man was announced to be leaving the MCU, we got word that officially Neo and company are back. The Matrix 4 is official. And
I am so excited.
Not as we heard originally that Michael B. Jordan would be coming in, but Keanu Reeves is back. And we have a Wachowski writing the script.
Nice. The Wachowski
not both.
Just one.
Lana. And Carrie Ann Moss coming back as well.
Woo! Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I like this. Now, I can't wait to find out what's going on with this, but I guarantee you I will be there opening night.
Yeah.
With my leather with my trench coat on.
Right. Yeah. And, it's been long enough now that you have to believe they have a good idea for this thing, or they wouldn't do it.
Absolutely.
Either that, or they feel like the market is right. What with the Keanu-sance that we're in the middle of.
It just better be better than Revolutions. It better be better.
Yeah, but regardless, you've got 3 of the big ones coming, and I wouldn't be surprised to hear that Lawrence Fishburne signs up for this thing before it's over with.
Oh, absolutely. What else has he got going on besides John Wick?
Yeah, so I think it big news for sure to have Keanu and Carrie Ann Moss coming back as Neo and Trinity, and also big that we have a Wachowski writing the script.
That means now that our background stuff is going to have to be the Fallen Matrix text.
If you give me just a little while, I can make that happen.
Nice.
You know how quick I've gotten on this thing.
You are the man on this. I feel like such a slacker compared to you.
So yeah, let's see. That's really all we have on the Matrix 4 right now, but still pretty exciting stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's stirring up. I mean, you figure Keanu Reeves, man, talking about the Keanu-sance, you've got John Wick. We're on pins and needles to find out what he's going to be doing in the MCU.
Right.
Because the MCU's been talking to him. Now he's coming back for the Matrix as well. I mean, man, this guy's career is just fire.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. And like I said, the Keanu-sance is upon us.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you something right now, man. Keanu Reeves is, like, honestly, I used to always say that Johnny Depp was probably one of my favorite actors of all time because he just knows. He always changes. I love that change, by the way. You thought I wouldn't notice, but I did. Because he could just turn into everybody.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves, everyone turns into him.
Yeah.
And it just works. And Keanu Reeves, he had a stinker this year. I had the same thing. And I think all of us
we all did, yeah.
We all had the Matrix falling background back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
But, Keanu Reeves, it's just like even with the stinker he had no one cared because Keanu Reeves is still money.
Yeah.
And with Bill and Ted coming out next year, whatever he's going to be doing in the MCU, and now this plus the Cyberpunk game that's coming out.
It's a Keanu-sance. Maybe that should be our new segment, the Keanu-sance.
Yeah, every week we're just going to have something new.
Yeah, because, we also had this, like, awesome story about this girl, the Make-A-Wish kid that wanted to see Bill and Ted as her Make-A-Wish, and he showed up and took her to see it.
Nice.
Yeah, and so he's the only white man for sure that I can think of in Hollywood right now that whenever I hear his name, I don't immediately assume the worst.
Right. It's like every time Keanu Reeves' name is mentioned, it's something positive. It's something that makes people happy. He's like one of the genuine nice guys in Hollywood.
Yeah. And speaking of who I think might be another genuine nice guy, got some Kevin Smith news this week, Brian.
Oh, this is going to be so great. When you sent me this, I got so excited.
Yeah, Kevin Smith set to reboot the animated Masters of the Universe for Netflix as an anime, it looks like.
This is going to be so cool. And this coming off of, the sort of lackluster news about the Master of the Universe live action film, and that news sort of being nothing at all. This is amazing because Masters of the Universe, we've been talking about this for years, but it really is. But we've been talking about, well, not we as in you and I, but in us film nerds, we've been discussing Masters of the Universe for like the last decade, from that sadly short-lived Cartoon Network series in the mid-noughts, which was a big deal, and it was so good, like the Thundercats one. They were both so good, and they got canceled way too soon. And with Kevin Smith having his hands on it, who is a geek, his geek cred doesn't even mention.
It's wild.
It's going to be great.
I can't imagine a better guy. Now, what I'm interested in is how his dialogue translates to this. Is this going to be like a real talky version of He-Man?
I think it's going to be hilarious if Prince Adam has a younger brother named Jay.
Right. And he's just like hanging out at the corner by Grayskull dancing all the time.
Yep. And Tila's got a younger brother named Bob who doesn't talk.
Yeah.
And favors Man-at-Arms.
Silent Robert.
Man at Bob. Prince Jay and Man at Bob.
But yeah, no, I'm very excited to see what he can do. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that this has been slated for a 2020 release.
I believe that's the case. Yeah, I from what I understand, it was 2020, but no real date. It's just TBD 2020.
Yeah, so very excited about that.
Thank God he didn't die of that heart attack, man. Thank God.
Man, yeah, I feel like I think we're gonna have a Smith-assance before it's over with.
we're throwing that suffix out there like crazy.
It's one of my favorites.
It really is.
I like trying to figure out how to attach it to people's names. And I think it started with the McConaissance, Matthew McConaughey. But
well, you could have a Tanaissance.
Yeah, that's true. A Wilsonaissance.
A Shaneaissance.
I really like the ring of Wilsonaissance.
A Wilson. I want Will Smith to have like 5 bombs back to back, so then we can have a Willaissance.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how many bombs in a row he's had. Like, what's the longest stretch?
I don't know.
Something to look into for the start of Will Smith Timber, which starts in 2 weeks.
This is going to be so great. What we're going to have for you guys that missed it, our surprise episode, which is going to be dropping this Monday. And then after that, we will begin with Independence Day. Will Smith
I'm
Timber.
pumped to watch Independence Day again. I haven't seen that movie in too long. It's one of my favorites for sure.
Mine as well. You know what? I remember getting this movie. I remember getting it on VHS because I remember it came out that summer. I think it was like summer of 95, summer of 96. And it came out on VHS that Christmas.
Yeah.
And my mother got it for me for Christmas. And I called myself, I don't need surround sound. I'll just turn my TV up real loud.
Yeah.
And
I made my own version of Independence Day when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was a kid when this came out. I was in like 4th or 5th grade, something like that. Mm-hmm. And so I bought some of those old 3D puzzles.
Yeah.
And like built buildings out of them. And then I wrapped blue Christmas lights around like a toilet paper roll and just threw it at the houses.
Nice. Look at you being all
intense. Yeah, it was intense, man. But I need to see if I can find that. That would be fun to share on this show.
See, now the only thing I really did was I redid Saturday morning cartoon fights, and then I remember having Castle Grayskull.
Right.
And then I would actually reenact like Return of the Living Dead. So I'd like pick certain of the heroes to like live in Castle Grayskull trying to fight off zombies.
Right.
Check
this out. This is the foresight that I had. This was when I was in middle school. For real. I think I was in 6th grade when I started doing this.
Okay.
I wrote and directed or co-directed with this other kid in the neighborhood a Star Wars trilogy.
Ooh.
We did episodes, are you ready? 10, 11, and 12.
Nice. Well, we're going to have those in about 10 years.
Yeah. And one of the, they might be by Ryan Johnson, who we are going to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing right now. I don't care what anyone says. I loved Last Jedi.
I agree with you. And we have some big Star Wars news coming up. And in fact, D23, is that this weekend?
I think it's next weekend. It's either this weekend or next weekend.
I think it's this weekend, actually. But regardless, we'll be keeping you abreast of all of the Disney news.
We're going to get a lot of news from that. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's some more news on this Spider-Man thing as well at D23.
Yeah, well, we're absolutely going to get a new Rise of Skywalker trailer.
Yep, absolutely.
Because we are now 4 months out from the release of that film.
Yep.
So
3 months away from the drop of Disney Plus, which means that we're going to see some trailers from some Disney Plus stuff.
Oh yeah, The Mandalorian. I think we're going to get a trailer for that.
Yep. I think we're going to get a teaser for the Black Widow movie as well, because you figure that's coming in 9 months.
Yep. Yeah, man. So a lot of Disney comes up a lot in every episode, and we've got more Disney later.
It really does. Like sometimes when we do this show, I really wish Disney would just stop for like a month.
Right.
So we could have 4 straight weeks of no Disney news whatsoever.
Yeah. I'm with that. Bryan, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about the next story that we have here.
I am so excited for this.
And that is some coming to America news.
Oh, yeah. Well, recently it was announced, I believe it was announced today, Tracy Morgan has been announced to be joining the cast of Coming to America 2. And this is going to be great. And as you can see right here already, we've got Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall coming back. Wesley Snipes was among our last cast announcements. James Earl Jones is back as King Joffrey Jafar. The one thing, Shane, that has not been announced is, and it's the young lady on the lower left-hand side, Cherie Headley, who played Lisa in the first Coming to America, the woman that Prince Akeem marries. She has not been announced yet.
I will say that she is listed on the IMDb page for this film.
She is?
She is.
Okay.
Now that, I don't know what all that could mean, but she's definitely listed on the IMDb.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Here's hoping, because I'll tell you something right now. She is a very important character. And the fact that if you're going to bring Vanessa Bell Calloway back, who played the woman that Prince Akeem was supposed to marry, but didn't. And for those that don't recall, if you haven't seen the movie, there's a hilarious scene where they're talking, and he asks her, "You're supposed to do everything I tell you to do," and she says yes. He goes, bark like a dog, and just arf, 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 a big dog, woof, 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 hop on one leg, woof, woof, and she's hopping on. So if you're going to bring that character back, you've got to bring back the woman that he marries. Now, for those that don't know, the plot point that we have right now is that it turns out that Prince Akeem, who is now the king, has an illegitimate son in America. So he goes to America to find his son. And Tracy Morgan, who I said a few minutes ago, he was just announced to be joining the cast. He's actually going to play the brother to Leslie Jones's character. Oh. Leslie Jones, as you recall, played Patty in the Ghostbusters 2016 reboot. And
is one of the most explosive SNL performers on right now.
She really is. She is like the most physical, boisterous character.
Yeah. Did you have you ever caught her Game of Jones stuff?
No, I haven't. I don't really watch.
Game of Jones was a segment on Seth Meyers on his Late Show.
Okay.
Where they would watch a Game of Thrones episode together, and she was just losing her mind the whole time. It was awesome.
And and that's her shtick, man. Her shtick is kind of like in the vein of a Bobcat Goldthwait or Sam Kinison
or oh my God, Farley
or Chris Farley. Very explosive and physical
and loud
and very, very loud. And I mean, and it worked because I mean, when you had her in Ghostbusters. Now, granted, some people there could be an argument made that she was like the stereotypical black woman, where she was being loud and whatever, but she worked because you figure you had Kristen Wiig's character who was sort of quiet and mellow, was like the straight person. Melissa McCarthy and Kate McKinnon took on the roles of like the eccentric scientists, and Leslie Jones rounded out the cast. So I mean, I'm very interested to see what her and Tracy Morgan are going to bring to the table as brother and sister.
I think they'll be good, and always good to see Tracy and stuff.
It really is. Like Tracy Morgan, I think what's hilarious to me is that you look at Tracy Morgan and you look at Kevin Hart. Has anyone ever seen the two of them in the same room together? I swear they're the same person. It's just Tracy Morgan is Kevin Hart after Kevin Hart has done like 3 lines of coke. Because it's like Kevin Hart is already like wild, and then you get Tracy Morgan.
See, I feel like Kevin Hart is what happens when Tracy Morgan does coke, and Tracy Morgan is what happens when Kevin Hart smokes pot.
But I don't know, because Tracy Morgan is.
I mean, he's wild, but he's slower. You know what I mean? Like
I can see.
Kevin Hart is the spastic guy.
True. But you know what's funny is that Tracy Morgan, because I listened to
all we know for sure is that Dave Chappelle curls both of them.
Yes, he does. Because Dave Chappelle is jacked, man.
Yeah, he is.
Oh my God. It's like Dave Chappelle disappeared and started cage fighting.
I think when he went to Africa, I think he physically fought all of the animals there.
It wasn't so. I bet you Dave Chappelle is really the new king of Zamunda.
Yeah, Safari Fight Club.
That'd be so cool. But I think that but I do think it's going to be great to see. It's going to be cool to see. I hope Tracy Morgan brings back his character Pumpkin Escobar from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and to see him interacting with Wesley. It's just this casting news for Coming to America 2 is going to be so great. I can't wait for this movie to come out. It is going to be amazing.
Yeah, should be good. It's another one that they've taken their time on.
They really have, because I mean, there's been rumors of a Coming to America sequel for a long time.
It brings us back to our suffix of the day. We might be on the cusp of a Murphy Renaissance.
A Murphy Renaissance. Well, because he just signed a $70 million deal with Netflix.
Yeah, to
do stand up again. So Eddie Murphy is coming back with a vengeance, man. It's like, what is with the end of the teens? Of the 2000s, man, where people are just making some comebacks. It's like this is LL Cool J with "Mama Said Knock You Out."
Right? Yeah. Don't call it a comeback.
Oh, I'm not gonna.
They've been here for years.
They have been. You're calling it a renaissance,
right? I'm
not calling it anything. They've been here for years.
That's right. Now let's see some late term. Weird word choice.
Very much so.
Some late term additions to the Fast and the Furious 9 cast.
Merle Dixon.
As Michael Rooker joins.
Yeah, we're gonna have Merle Dixon in the Fast and the Furious 9.
Yeah.
Oh man, so this is gonna be. So I think what's amazing here is that so Vin Diesel with his ego has alienated Money, aka Dwayne Johnson, from the Fast and the Furious series. Between Vin Diesel and Tyrese Gibson, Dwayne Johnson's like, yep, stand away from this train wreck. So not only now are we going to have John Cena, but we're also getting Michael Rooker.
And you think that he's replacing who?
I don't know.
Probably not replacing anybody in this film, but do you think they're getting ready to phase somebody out?
I think. I think they might be phasing out the Luke Hobbs character and the Deckard.
Isn't the 10th one supposed to be the last one, or is this supposed to be the last one?
The 10th one is supposed to be the last one.
Okay.
I believe.
And you know what? Just in time, because I only got tired of these movies 8 movies ago.
You know what? I loved the first movie.
It was good.
Movie I had to make myself like.
Tokyo Drift?
No, Too Fast, Too Furious. I had to make myself like that one because I'm not really that big of a Ludacris fan. I never have been. And then Tokyo Drift, I didn't mind because I like the idea of them going to Japan. I love Japanese culture. The fourth movie, I was like, all right, cool. I liked the fourth movie because it was like bringing back the originals. And then it was like, all right, that was cool. Let's stop here. You ended it. And then they came out with a fifth movie. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Why? And then they brought The Rock in, and it was like, okay, I can get into this. Now I'm just like, enough. We don't need any more of these movies. We really don't.
Yeah, I'm done with them. You sent me this today, and I was like, I want to be excited, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm not either. The only reason why I sent it to you is because it was news.
Now, something that I was
like Michael Rooker.
Something that I am a little bit interested in is this news that not quite former, but
soon to be former.
Yeah, Arrow star Stephen Amell is going to star in a wrestling series for Stars called Heels.
And I had an idea a couple of years ago that something like this would happen with Stephen Amell because he had that really cool guest, that cool guest thing going on with Stardust, aka Cody Rhodes, who is one of the top guys in the new wrestling promotion AEW now. And Stephen Amell looked really, really comfortable doing promos and being in the ring. So this seems like it's going to be kind of cool. You know, I might be willing to get a free subscription to Stars for, a month or two to watch this,
Yeah, it looks like it's sort of small time wrestling. It's about a family in Georgia that has this, I don't know, it felt a little bit like backyard wrestling that maybe blows up a little bit.
Yeah, and like I said, I'd definitely be, awesome and willing to check this out because it seems like it'd be pretty cool. And the only thing with Stephen Amell is that, yeah, he was at All In as well. All In being one of AEW's events. AEW, like I said, it's more of an upstart. And, Stephen Amell is really, really into that. I think he really struck up a strong friendship with Cody Rhodes. So it's going to be nice to see this. The only thing is with Stephen Amell that worries me about this is his performance in that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, that god-awful movie, because he was terrible in that movie. So I really hope that he's able to get a better character involved.
Yeah, I didn't even see. You're talking about the Michael Bay Turtles, right? Yeah, I did not even watch those.
Yeah, you're not. You weren't missing out on anything. I've been thinking about writing a letter to Michael Bay demanding my life back.
Yeah. Michael Bay, man. Is there anybody with a more obvious aesthetic? I guess maybe Zack Snyder.
Yeah, but Zack Snyder at least has a little bit of story involved. Michael Bay is just explosions.
Well, Zack Snyder is explosions with catchphrases. He's still not writing a lot. He's just throwing catchphrases at the screen.
It's almost like Michael Bay seems to think that plot points are explosions.
Right.
You can't have a plot without explosions.
They're like, where's the character development? And he's like, did you not see the character explode?
Yeah, exactly. Well, how is he going to develop? He's developing all over the wall because he exploded.
Right. Yeah. We talked about Netflix bringing back Resident Evil, or not bringing it back, but developing a Resident Evil series a couple of weeks ago. And today we heard a little bit more about the Resident Evil film reboot.
See, if they are going to do the cinematic reboot to this, number one, it'd be kind of cool if they tied it in with I don't want them to tie it into a TV series, but honestly, with what Paul Anderson did to Resident Evil, Paul Anderson, like the very first Resident Evil movie, I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then the second Resident Evil, at first I was like, all right, we got Jill Valentine. This is going to be cool. And then it turned into the Alice, I'm a super mutant thing. And it was just like, all right, this sucks now. So I'm hoping that these movies will at least try to follow some continuity of the actual of the game series or whatever. I don't know. I still wish that the original George Romero script for the Resident Evil movie would have been used. Puppy!
Yeah, she was starting to get like whiny. So
you be nice to Scrappy Doo. She's okay.
So I've got a little guest here for a few seconds. But yeah, so I pulled this quote from the director, Johan Roberts, where essentially, I don't want to have to read it, but essentially he's saying that they're going back to the video games for their inspiration for this thing. So maybe that's good news. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Because the games are such amazing storytelling. Sometimes the voice acting is really, really bad. I'm looking at you, Rebecca Chambers from Resident Evil 1. So some of the voice acting is bad, but the stories are really well done.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then I can be excited for it. I'll go into it with an open mind.
Yeah, for sure. Just one more story before we switch things up a little bit, and that is that today we got the official reveal for Bond 25. So big news popping here, I guess, right?
I guess. I mean, I'm not really a James Bond fan, but
yeah, he's it's been a little while since I've cared about James Bond as well. But you know, if this is Daniel Craig's last run, then
it's no time for him to die.
Yeah, right. Well, apparently he is the last defense that we have against, you know, minority females.
Yay!
So, you know how we feel about all of that controversy.
Yeah, because you know those minority females, man, and their reports.
That right, minority female report. All right, we have one story this week from Stream Wars. Bryan, I think I'm gonna let me see if I can get the other one to play, the one with the full, because it's super relevant today.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do
the full description. It may not work for me here. Let's see what I can do.
Oh, your new computer got this, man. Your new computers.
I mean, here's hoping. Here is hoping.
I've got faith in you.
Oh yeah, I think we got it. But it may not have sound. It may not have sound. That's the problem. It's not giving me the option.
You know what? I could hear it this time around.
But regardless, we'll see what happens. You may not be able to hear the music, but it doesn't matter because the story is really where it's at. I'm no Zack Snyder or Michael Bay.
Yeah, there's no sound, but that's okay. It's still Stream Wars. Stream Wars coming to you. Stream Wars to you. The weakening of Netflix. It's so fun. So a lot of shade was thrown with this week's Stream Wars announcement, man. This is so cool. I love picturing the fact that like Netflix is like the empire. So like on the Netflix version of Vader, he has like the little N on his like left breast.
So this week a big development in the world of Stream Wars for sure. And mostly the fact that Disney revealed the devices that would be streaming Disney Plus come November. And those devices are Apple products, Google products, the Roku, Sony's PlayStation 4, Android TV, the Xbox, and anything you see missing from this list, Bryan.
I'm going to take a stab in the dark, if I may.
Yeah.
No Amazon.
There's no Amazon here. Now, do you think that is an intentional oversight?
I think that you know Disney.
Or do you think that by the time it comes out, it'll be on the Fire Stick?
Oh, by the time it comes out, it's going to be on the Fire Stick because the thing is that Amazon still has tons of power. They're the gatekeepers to a lot of the distribution of physical products. Yeah, you can go into Target and Walmart to get things, but most people order stuff off of Amazon, and Amazon Prime makes everyone money. Amazon practically prints money. It's just a matter of time before, by the time, it's probably going to be within the next month that it's going to be on the Fire Stick.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joe Comp.
Yeah, Joe, I really wish you could have heard it, but it does go that way sometimes. Uh-oh. Bryan, are you frozen? Can anybody hear me? Does anybody see the doggy? Well, anyway, I guess if I'm still on the air, I'll go it alone for a minute. Man, honestly, if you can actually hear me right now, everything is falling apart over here. I got phones ringing. I got dogs in my lap. I got Bryan's dipping out. What a terrible time.
No, well, you know what's weird is I'm sitting here and I'm talking, and then my whole part, like everything electronic goes out.
Oh, okay.
So everything's back on now, and I'm waiting for my modem to reboot. But I realized, hey, look at that, my phone is a mobile hotspot.
Yeah, so, well, hey, just in time, because you know what it's time for.
Opening this weekend. What's coming now in the movies?
I just love it. It may be the thing that I look forward to the most every time we start one of these. So I picked 3 out for us today. We have Angel Has Fallen, Ready or Not, and Brittany Runs a Marathon.
Okay, so I won't be seeing any of these.
Right. This is a kind of a slow week for movies.
It really is. Well, it's because we're coming toward the end of the summer. We've had all of our blockbusters. So yeah, I mean,
the only one that I'm remotely interested in seeing, and it's not a theater viewing. It's a wait for the digital, and that is Ready or Not. And I'm really only interested in it because it's Rian Johnson's take on Clue, which I think could be interesting.
I mean, and that's cool. That's cool. I just, like I said, nothing really that's on that list and everything really.
Man, Bryan is having a hard time over there. But yeah, I mean, he's right. There's nothing on the list that's incredibly, intriguing. But the trailers for Ready or Not have intrigued me. And Angel Has Fallen. I'm with you, Joe. Who cares about Angel Has Fallen? When you look that up, it actually says that it's a part of the Fallen movie universe, which is ridiculous. So that I guess is a part of London Has Fallen and Washington Has Fallen. Is that a thing that came out? It feels like that was a thing that came out.
Fell. I know Olympus fell.
Olympus fell. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because but honestly, I could care less about any of these.
You guys want to see something really weird? I thought that your other string would still be there, but it wasn't.
Oh man, no, because my modem finally kicked back on, so it was like, all right, let's get to that because you were breaking up on my end. So
yeah,
but I don't really care about any of these things. Gerard Butler. He just doesn't. He doesn't excite me about things. You know what? Sorry, Leonidas. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, right.
But go back to being a law-abiding citizen, sir.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's a slow week for.
I didn't even get to go see any of our coming attractions from last week. This weekend was so crammed full of. It was such an emotional roller coaster that it was like I didn't have the time to be able to do it.
Yeah, I did see Good Boys. So,
you got to tell me about that off air, man.
Yeah, so you'll be getting a mini review, at least from me, on Good Boys in the next couple of days. But yeah, it was excellent.
And you know what? I'm actually, we're talking about mini reviews. I'm actually planning on doing. I'm either going to write an article or I'm going to do a mini review myself. I'm going to talk about the Beverly Hills 90210. Reboot show.
Yeah. I'd like to see something on that.
I watched those two. I watched the 2 episodes, and you know what? Spoiler alert, I'm hooked.
Oh yeah, nice. That's good to hear.
I'm into it. I'm so into it that I actually went back to Hulu to binge the original series.
Is the whole series on Hulu?
All 10 seasons are on Hulu, my friend.
Damn it. Why do I have to know that now? Because There's no way I don't go back and watch those.
And as soon as I told Sharon they were all there, she was like, "Well, don't watch it without me. We can binge it." It's like, that's why I'm marrying you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, man.
David Silver.
We are going to start wrapping this thing up. If you are a new watcher or listener, then be sure to follow us on all of your favorite social medias and all of your, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're at Plotaholics.
Yep. See, it's right down there.
Yeah. In fact, I need to update that to include Instagram.
Yeah.
And that's a bad job out of me. Sorry.
No, you know what? You do so much, and I mean,
don't come at me like that right now, Bryan.
You do so much. You can't be expected to get everything done.
That's a fair point. That's just a slight little oversight there. At
some point, we're gonna have to hire you an assistant to do all this stuff for you.
Honestly, I just need the assistant to take care of the dog.
Well, you could task our bartender for that, but I think she might.
Smiley, yeah,
we could get Smiley to do it, but Smiley might get the dog drunk.
Yeah, we really need to find a way to represent. I need a Smiley puppet.
You know what would be awesome? I just picture Smiley as like you remember the safety clip, the paper clip that was the Microsoft Word guy. Yeah. I picture that as Smiley but angrier.
Yeah, and also probably like a tumbler instead of a paperclip.
Yeah, I could see that. And the tumbler will look just like Mo Sislak.
Right. Oh, man. But yeah.
And Asian.
Yeah. And I always thought he was like from Brooklyn.
An Asian from Brooklyn, man.
There you go. I like that.
An angry Asian tumbler from Brooklyn.
Yeah. Joe brings up an interesting point. Bryan, I don't think ever got to meet my old co-host from the short-lived show, Virtual Napkins.
No, I did not.
My co-host there was a red panda named Antonio Red Panderas. And he's a pretty excellent co-host. He used to watch movie previews and review them without having ever seen the movie. Yeah, he was a good time. We might need to bring him into the mix for some.
I don't know. He might get mad at me for taking his spot, and then I'm gonna feel threatened, and he and I are gonna have to fight to the death at dawn.
Yeah, at dawn. That's probably the best time for that.
Yeah, but I might be tired.
Yeah, but Antonio Red Panderas, we might have to have him get in the mix. He's a good character. He was everyone's favorite character, much like your favorite character is Smiley from our endeavors.
Yeah.
Antonio Red Panderas was everyone's favorite character in the old Virtual Napkin series.
Well, I remember one of my first podcast, my original podcast, Primetime is Tan Time radio show. And he was one of the favorite characters I had on there was Yummy Tatas, but I think Yummy Tatas might be considered offensive.
Yeah, I think maybe Yummy Tatas might have missed her time. I assume.
I think so. I think Yummy Tatas is better left retired.
Yeah.
Me and Antonio Red Panderas are just gonna have to duke it out at dawn, and by dawn I mean 5 p.m. because it's sunrise somewhere.
Right there you go. Wherever you're watching us right now, if you haven't, make sure that you hit subscribe and make sure that you hit the notifications button. It looks like a bell usually, so that you know whenever we're live and that you know whenever we post something new. You can subscribe to the website over at plotaholics.com. That's where all of our new stuff is posted. This week you can expect and some sort of a post on the Beverly Hills reboot and some sort of a post on Good Boys. And starting next week, weekly posting of the podcast, which offers long form movie reviews from a storyteller's perspective.
Absolutely.
And
you can find us anywhere you find podcasts on iHeartRadio, iTunes, or it's not an Apple Podcast, sorry, Google, Stitcher, TuneIn. We're all over it. We're all over it. So we're doing the Disney thing just at a smaller scale.
Yeah, we're big things coming for the Plotaholics podcast.
Absolutely. And then in 2 weeks, man, Independence Day.
Yeah, Independence Day. All right. Well, hey, man, I think that's going to just about do it for us for the Plotaholics. I am Shane Wilson.
And I'm Bryan Tan.
and we will talk to you again real soon. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.